welcome to our Coaching to Flourish podcast. And I am here with John Andrew Williams, and we're really excited because we've got some great Q&A and questions and probably insights for you. How are you doing, John?
Good. Yeah, today's second Tuesday of the month. We had our trainer meeting today. It went well, and I'm feeling, really, there's a ton of work to do, sure, but I'm feeling optimistic about it and ready to hop in. It's good to see you, Raj.
Good to see you too. I can see some different colors behind you, John. There's some purples and things. Is that a new picture?
It's a new picture. Yes. New artwork. So, yeah, I like it. It's fun. It's good to change it up.
New season and things. I'm so curious about it, but I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go straight into the first question. So this question I'm not sure who it's coming from, but I'll read it out to you, John. I feel like I'm completely lost and considering hiring a life coach. How do I decide what things I need to focus on?
With the life coach or with, well, that's what the life coach will do. Will help you figure out what to focus on, which is fun. I am aware that there's a lot out there. There are a couple of misconceptions. There's a couple of myths about coaches, especially if you're looking at some of the videos that people have made that make fun of life coaching. I think the biggest myth is that a life coach will tell you what to do. And I think this myth comes directly from people who have had interactions with therapists, and they expect that a life coach is similar to a therapist. They're not. They're different things. And they both practices ask questions. Both are helping professions. Both involve empathy and active listening. The difference, though, is that a therapist will give advice. They're looking at matching patterns and giving a diagnosis. A life coach does not do that. So what a life coach would do is, with that, would say, okay, well, what's it like to be lost? Where are you at? What's your world like? And the session would go on from there. It's impossible to predict what to look at from a coaching perspective. But I think what the question does speak to me, is that the myth that a lot of people have about what life coaching is. And it's something that I want to actively work against and educate people. I mean, these people who are putting out these videos about coaching, they're smart people. They just are ignorant about what life coaching is and isn't.
So what we're kind of sharing is that the coach is going to, if you think that you're ready for a life coach, the coach is going to help you to explore what you need to focus on, help facilitate that growth, and help you laser in a little bit.
Yeah, it's like exactly. Like it's more about curiosity. Like what a life coach will give you is their curiosity and care. And that curiosity and care will help you travel that space alongside someone who can help show you things that might just be right there, but you don't see anymore because they're so close, or they're so, almost too obvious in some ways. But yeah, I'd say try, if you're looking to hire a coach, try out, 2 or 3 of them, see who you work with best, see who you like working with, and go with that and try it for 2 months and rinse and repeat. It's a relatively low investment, and the upswing can be really, really high.
Yeah. Thank you, John. And I mean, the only thing I would add is it's okay not to know, is it? I mean, your coach is going to help you through those questions and designing an alliance. And I mean, the only thing I would say is you could ask yourself a question going in as to why now, or, for me, I know when I was looking for a life coach, things had changed, or I was looking to make a change. So maybe it's just a couple of questions to ask yourself, like, why now? Or what has changed, or what am I looking to change in prep?
Yeah, I love those questions. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Okay, so this is a question specifically for you, because I know this was about Coach Training EDU. So can you tell us about Coach Training EDU's practice client directory? So the client directory that there is to practice, and the benefits to coaching students, and also the benefits to volunteer participants?
So people who want to be practice clients, is that who we're talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So that's a big thing that we're rolling out. A couple things we're rolling out on the website. We are now in the stages of testing out a coach directory. So we're going to be rolling out a new coach directory on the Coach Training EDU site and on the academic site. And that's a pretty big deal. In the past, we had our websites were on WordPress. Now they're hard coded, and anything you do on a hard coded website takes I now know 5 times longer than I previously thought it took. But the quality of it is amazing, and I'm really happy with. We have a really strong developer, and she's just bringing it, and the directory is ready. So, I think that will also help, and that'll be open to alumni first, and we'll test it out, and then we'll open it to other people. So that's how, if you want to find a coach, that's available. Now, as a practice client, I think being a practice client, a lot of the coaches who go through our training program, they're actively looking for practice clients so they can try out what they're, the things that they're working on. My hope is that people who are in the coach training program, or people who want to work with a coach, will tell their friends, we have an organization that are training people to be coaches. There's an opportunity to get free practice coaching if you want it. And here's a form. I think we have one, or have had one in the past. Fill it out, and we'll get you connected with a coach. And then same idea, maybe interview 2 or 3, pick one and go with it. That's what I'm hoping for, to have that more of a formalized form and then contact and process.
Super exciting. So what will phase 1, or when can we expect the rollout of this to happen?
We're testing it this month. I imagine November we're going to roll it out. We want it to be really robust and ready to go by mid-December, so that when January comes, which is Life Coaching Month, like everyone is interested in coaching in January. So probably mid-December, I imagine a pretty robust product.
So what if somebody has a referral, someone's not had life coaching before, they're interesting, can they volunteer to join the database?
Yes. Just contact support at this point. So we're manually connecting people right now, which is fine, but it's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of manual work. And I know we had a form in the past, but like I said, when you're moving over to a hard coded site, everything, you have to basically code all of this stuff from scratch. And I imagine I'm about to get a message here from someone listening. This is the state. I know a couple people on my team are listening to these. This is the state of where it's at. This is what it looks like. Basically, connect with support now, and in the future, we'll have a more formalized process for it. But we might have one already. I think there are lots of benefits to having practice clients, as a coach, a learning coach. And if you are in the space of, if you are working through a program and you're have friends or family who are close to you, it's a better idea to refer them and not work with them yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've been through a lot of overviews, Raj. How, when you're listening to an overview or doing an assessment, what's the difference what's the difference usually if the coach and the client are friends versus if they don't know each other outside of that professional coaching relationship?
It's a great question, John. I was actually talking to somebody about this after an overview the other day. I think especially when you are new to coaching or you're training, I think if you work with somebody that isn't a close friend or family, you probably allow yourself, it's easier to go with the structure and parameters. Sometimes I can find coaches when I'm listening to them and it's someone that they know, they might make assumptions in the session. So it kind of gets in the way of curiosity.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Absolutely. Yeah, it seems like there is a different level of energetic and familiarity with it as well that I think can sometimes be challenging to overcome. Yeah, I think what you said is right on.
And sometimes a friendship might get in the way of the session. It's maybe the person that you're coaching is such a good friend and they think that they're doing you a favor or they're trying to help you. So it kind of holds them back from fully being real and relaxing and not trying to tailor their answers. You know, I have heard before, even at the end of an over, how did we do? How did I do?
Yeah, I know. Did I get to what you needed?
Yes.
Are you good?
Yes.
Was I a good client? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it can get in the way of all of those things: curiosity, freedom, both sides as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, John, how does this fit in, this new kind of database fit in with your bigger purpose around coaching?
Mm-hmm. I want to further the field. And so directories like this also help get more people introduced to coaching, through being a practice client. That's how I learned about it, in coaching. And then also having a directory where you can see coaches, you can find coaches more easily and, reach out to them. And also for the coaches who are with Coach Training EDU, it's another benefit for them to find clients and for us to connect people. We do get people asking us on a regular basis for coach, to find a coach. So this is our answer to that. We want to help these people.
You're making global connections, aren't you? I know people that are like friends after they've met somebody in the coaching pods, and you got somebody in Europe is coaching somebody in India or Japan. So this is like making connections all over the world through this, isn't it?
It is truly cool when you see what happens in coaching and what's possible now with Zoom and, connecting, having meaningful conversations with people all over the world. It's become so normalized for me. It really has. Like, I don't even think about it anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, of course this is what the world is about. I almost forget what it was like, I don't know, before Zoom. Yeah, what are you going to do? Feel old. I'm like, the young ones these days are calling it the late 1900s.
Are they? I feel old now.
Mm-hmm. I know. They're like, oh, they were born in the late 1900s. It's okay.
Oh gosh.
I know, they're brutal.
I know that is.
Like, just wait until like your kids. What they say about you.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Late 1900s. Okay, so I'm going to switch gear here. This is a businessy question. I know that there is a program in Coach Training EDU that helps people with their life's work and sometimes business structures and systems. This question is around professional liability insurance. So what are your thoughts on this, John? Do coaches need some type of professional liability insurance?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And it's a good idea whenever you're starting a business to connect with a lawyer in the state. If you're in the United States, it's more. My understanding of it is that it's more state by state, and it's not. You have to do your own homework and find a lawyer and an accountant and figure out what business legal structure you want to put in place, what kind of release forms you need to have in place. This is just general good business practice to do. And then what I do is every 2 or 3 years, I connect with, I have a friend who looks at it again, just does an overall check. And that is best practice. So I don't have any, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give specific advice on this. Like, hey, put this in your contract. Don't put this in your contract. But I do think it is useful to speak to a lawyer. They will know what kind of like legal business structures you need to create that can mitigate risk. That's an important part of it. And then with the insurance part of it, I know that the ICF has had in the past a partnership with an organization that does that kind of work. Remember the name of it? Was it? I forget which company it is. It's on the International Coach Federation website. They have an insurance organization they work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it can also depend the clients that you're working with. So for me, when I'm working with corporate organizations, and especially in the US, you have agreement, you have to sign confidentiality and non-disclosure and all of those things as well. And they requested of me, because I do some in-person events as well, both professional liability and general liability. So some things to think about in terms of, if you have a contract with an organization, what does that say? For me, I always make sure the coaching agreement, I don't start a coaching session with someone until a coaching agreement is signed. And I use like you can use DocuSign, I use HelloSign, make sure it's legally binding. Those kinds of things help. I have a membership to Law Depot. So you can get legally binding contracts from there and then put them in an app as well. So just some resources and things that you can use. And having an LLC protects you, so that business structure. But I think it's really important, isn't it, to you protect yourself and work within ethics as well.
Yeah, you got to do your homework. It's not enough to be a sole proprietor and have nothing there. I think that's not enough. And it's not hard once you get into it. It's quite fun too. And I would look at it as the perspective of just a series of firsts. Like, yay, this is my first coaching business. This is my first this and that. Like a baby, like taking their first steps, or their first time they ride a bike, or swing on a swing without the little guardrails, So all those things.
And if anyone's looking for templates, if you are a coach in Coach Training EDU, I know there's some sample templates in portals, and there's sample templates at the ICF. And if you are in the US, I use Hiscox. They're great for training and educational or coaches as well. If you want to check that out, just thought I'd share that, because I spent a long time finding someone. So Hiscox is good if you want to check that out. Thanks, John. I'm going to switch gear again. And this question is for you, because I know you've run this program before. What is the difference, or is there a difference between a relationship coach and a team coach?
Yes. And I know that there is. We've done this. We've gone down these. We've talked a lot about this internally. I think there's this fundamental difference between relationships and teams. For me, teams coaching is, I mostly have done it in the executive space, where team coaching is a lot about leadership. It's a lot about what's the culture of the team, what are the what are both the explicit and implicit contracts that we have between other people in the team, how we, like, the accountability culture of the team. Like that's to me more around team coaching. It's usually there's projects that need to get done, or there's a vision that needs to become accomplished. That's in the realm of team coaching. Relationship coaching, it functions slightly differently from that, in the sense that there's usually not like a, hey, we have to get some projects accomplished, or there's some of that for sure, but relationship coaching doesn't even necessarily even need to involve the other person. Like, you can work with a relationship coach on you and your relationship with someone else. It's not like you have to go in and do couples therapy or that kind of work. But I think what relationship coaching excels at is, again, exploring the implicit and explicit contracts you have with people in your life, and looking at relationships from 12 different tools. And some of these tools are amazing. There is some overlap, sure, between relationship and team coaching, but to me, that's the fundamental difference, is that team coaching has more to do with leadership and project completion, team culture. Individual relationship coaching has more to do with values, boundaries, I don't know, perspective work.
Thanks, John.
I'm curious your thoughts too on that, Raj. How would you answer that question?
I agree with you. I mean, I think there's anything that you learn in even the fundamentals and essentials as a life coach is transferable learning, isn't it? You can transfer that to any kind of niche. That's the way I see it. I mean, ultimately, we're dealing with like the whole person, aren't we? And when I'm dealing with an organization or we're doing group coaching, for me, first, I think we're dealing with human beings, and what is going on individually, and then what do we look is happening collectively. So I definitely think, even if you had clashed yourself as a relationship coach, or you've done loads of studying and training and all of that, there's definitely crossovers and learning from that you could take into the teams, can't you, around communication and building rapport and understanding each other and meeting people kind of where they're at. I was just thinking about what are the components that you might cover if you were doing relationship coaching, say if you were doing couples, but there's lots of crossovers that you could take to the team as well, couldn't you? Because that's sometimes what happens is people misunderstand each other.
Yeah, looking at some of the research in the curriculum development of the relationships course, it's so interesting. It really is. And it makes me really happy too, because I feel like there's elements of awareness that are being developed with understanding like specifically what works well and what doesn't work well in relationships, and then specifically what works well and what doesn't work well when you're looking at teams. This is really valuable knowledge that is able to be shared to like everybody. So it's I have a lot of hope. I mean, I really do for the awareness that's being developed. And a lot of this is being picked up by organizations and businesses simply because this is the most efficient and effective way to work. And inclusion provides huge benefits for teams and organizations. There is no, it's amazing when you start to get into this work from different perspectives, the richness of insights that are available.
John, we've got a couple of minutes left, and it's amazing we actually have covered all of our questions today.
That's lovely. I know. I feel like today I've been I've been on back-to-back things from. It's been a lot, so it's been good, and I have like 3 more hours to go. It's usually not like this. This is a monster day, though.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been more in an efficiency mode. Like, are we good? Are we done? Okay, good. Next one.
Efficiency and doing mode. I think it'd be a good question to cover. I saw a question had come in on what does a day in the life of a life coach, or maybe it's an entrepreneur, look like?
Right. I could do one. I could totally do one. What's a day in the life of John?
So what are your words?
This thing I do. The weirdest thing I do in a day. I recently installed a rope in this tree in the side yard, and so I try to climb it at least a couple times. I try to climb it every day. Have you ever tried to climb a rope? It's a thing. It
looks hard.
Yeah, it's a thing. It took me about 4 weeks of just doing like the little ones until I can get up it now, right? But I can't do it every day. I have to skip every other day. I was trying to do it every day, but I can't do it. I'll do it for the video. I'll do my rope climb.
Yes. For TikTok.
My 5 a.m. rope climb.
Why is it important to you to do the rope climb, John?
Because that's what I do. It's a day in the life of John. It's a rope climb. You climb the rope. I'm going to write a book, Climb the Rope. That's what it is. Just once a day, climb the rope. Or, a couple times a week. I think to me, like it's what I really, if I know I know we're at a time now. I have a theory on if people are really wanting to be an entrepreneur or, really push their career in a certain space, what I have found absolutely essential, and I come back to, is doing something physical at least a couple times a week that pushes a physical limit. Because I'm positive there's some mental emotional reset that happens that without that, I feel like the stressors that we have to deal with in work, they build up too much. And then there's no like cleanse. There's no whoosh, like blank slate that needs to happen. But that's what the physical stuff does. Like, whether it's, trying to do as many pull-ups as you can, squats, whatever, push-ups, to me, it's irrelevant. Like, whatever the physical thing is, just as long as you're coming up against that's too hard. I can't do, I can't get to the very top. Okay. Whatever, don't let go. But you know what I mean? Like, you just got to go back down, back down.
Yeah.
But yes, I feel like that's what's missing. And if I were to say what in the day of a life of an entrepreneur or a coach, that to me is one of the most important elements.
I love it. So we're going to look out for a day in the life of John, and that's inspired me now. I'm going to do a release a bit later. I love to do spin as fast as I can.
There you go. Yeah. That's it.
Pumping music. That's what
it.
kind of helps me get to that point and have a breakthrough.
Yes, that's it. Or you get like a foam baseball bat and smack a pillow.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks.
Right.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank
you again. This is lovely. It's good to see you. Thank you, community, for being here in this Coaching to Flourish Q&A.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again next week.